to this week's challenge, where we are going to finally pull together all of your memorabilia and your journaling notes and all those things and tie them together with your photographs so that you can actually start moving forward with scrapbooking. Now that you have all your supplies done, your photos done, well, I know they're not done, but they're getting there. Excuse me. So our next step is memorabilia, journaling notes, and creating that holding album. Before we get started today, I want to congratulate Peggy Lewis. She's our winner this week, and her post says, I got all my paper finished and stamps and dies are sorted. Woo! I got a box of photos done as well. I reorganized my sewing room to make room for my paper crafting, and boy, what a challenge that was. I hated scrapping at the kitchen table because I had to put it up every night. My scrap rack is looking good, and it got placed in the sorted area, which is my new craft room. So congratulations, Peggy, and I totally feel your pain about crafting at the dining room table, right? That's how all this madness started for me. When you have to haul everything out and put everything away, it's almost more frustration and more work to actually craft than it is to craft. But hopefully, all of you out there organizing your things, even if you are dining room table crafters, it's going to be easy to pull out what you need and easy to put it back, and you're going to enjoy crafting even more like Peggy. So congratulations again, Peggy. So let's get started with this challenge. Our goal in this challenge is to make it easy to find your journaling notes and memorabilia. To add your journaling notes and memorabilia to your digital photos, or at least link them together, and then to learn how to create a holding album for maximum efficiency is what we're after. So as I mentioned, well, you didn't hear me mention because we didn't have any sound when we were first getting started. This is one of our shortest challenges. And it's one of the easiest challenges for most people to complete because we generally do have some idea of where our memorabilia is and some idea of where it came from. So this is just sort of combining all those things together. So our very first thing is to gather all that memorabilia together. You may have it spread all around your house in different kinds of boxes, drawers, totes. I know sometimes memorabilia ends up in the junk drawer or your center desk drawer, or tucked into your sock drawer or whatever. So search around, find all those bits and pieces that you've saved and bring them all together. And then going forward after this class, hopefully you'll think differently and you'll arrange a space where you can put those mementos right when they come in the house so they're easy to keep track of. So, and then you're going to use your sorting template. So the same sorting guides you used last week or you created last week for sorting your photos, you're going to use those to sort memorabilia if you need to. Sometimes we don't nearly have as much memorabilia, but if you're somebody who really collects a lot of stuff, those sorting guides are going to be the perfect way for you to sort that out and combine it with those photographs. And then last week, I wasn't here, so Karen led the charge last week, but I'm assuming she talked about creating a family timeline. Now, if you didn't do that to sort your photos, it might be a good idea to do it now. Again, whether you actually put something up on the wall or you just like write it out on a piece of paper, so it's easy to sort of track those family holidays, events, the things you have memorabilia for. You also want to have your calendars close at hand when you're doing this, right? Because the calendar is a valuable resource about when the kids went to summer camp or when you took vacation or when your house was remodeled or any of those kinds of things, because that calendar's got all those little notes jotted on it about the things that you did and the places that you went. So it's a good resource. So next step after gathering your things together is to choose a storage system for your memorabilia. And you can use literally anything to store them, right? File folders, oversized manila envelopes. You could use like the flat pizza boxes that you've maybe emptied out that had all your supplies in them when you were sorting things. Any of those things. If you're a digital scrapbooker, you're just going to be able to scan all that memorabilia in so that you can put it right in the file with your photos, right? So that you have that digital copy of it as well, right with your pictures. So decide on a storage system. Now I'm gonna, I'll show you what I use for my storage system. And right now we've got the mixed media binder on sale and it's a great option. So I'll show you how that's gonna work as well. All right, so you've gathered your things together. You've found the tools that you're going to use for organizing. So your next step is to literally sort and label that stuff. So adding sticky notes to file folders or manila envelopes or even your boxes of what's going in there is a great way to start. You know, I'm a big fan of the sticky note. I love it. But as you're sorting things into piles or into file folders or boxes, labeling them with that sticky note and then waiting till you're all done with everything that's in there to put that final label on it is going to be the key to getting things organized, and then maybe sorting and a little bit of resorting depending on how much you end up with, right? And you may also at this point realize as you're sorting that you're missing something. So make sure you write a little note to yourself that says, hey, you know, I'm missing the mementos from our Disney trip 2006. Where are they? Question mark. And just get your brain starting on that process of thinking about where did those go, right? Once you put information in your brain, a question into your brain, it gets to work on it whether you realize it or not. And so you may wake up in the middle of the night tonight, go, oh, now I know where those mementos are. Jot down on your little nightstand notepad where it is so that you can find it in the morning. But it's funny how your brain will start to process as long as you ask it that question, right? So you're going to sort your memorabilia into those containers. And then really the key thing is including with that some information, right? Anything that you can possibly remember about that event. So we have this little downloadable simple worksheet on the website. It just is, like I said, a brain prompt for what the event was, who was there, all kind of your basic information, and where are those photos located that coordinate with it. So you may want to print yourself a few of these to go with each category, or maybe just print one to kind of remind you of all the prompts, and then you can just use a regular piece of paper. Either way, it's just a free little printable download. It's just to spur your brain on. But if you put this in with each packet, box, file folder of memorabilia, you know where other things are, where the photos are, and all of that kind of stuff. So it's just a little brain prompt. And this is posted on the Get Organized Challenge page of the website. There's a link to it there, or there should be. Maybe Karen can double check to make sure that link is still existing so you can download that. All right, so once you've got it filed, sorted, tagged, labeled, then you're just going to put everything together in chronological order so that when you're ready to pull those photographs, you can go to the memorabilia section or wherever you have your mementos stored and find that same box or file folder or whatever of mementos and pull the two things together. Now, I really recommend that you go to your photos and label, yes, I have mementos for this and where they are, and vice versa on your little sheet here, so that it becomes really simple to pull the two things together. Remember, if it's easy, we do it, and if it's a pain in the neck, it gets pushed to the bottom of our list. But you definitely don't want to complete your scrapbook pages and then remember later that you had mementos. So take a few minutes now to prompt yourself, where are the photos, where is the memorabilia, so that you can put those two things or the mementos together, right? Okay, so here's a couple of examples of those types of things, right? So big manila envelopes, depending on the kind of things that you create, just with the label, date, what's inside them. Again, file chronologically. It can go in a file folder, it can go in a box, it can go anywhere. This is what I used originally, and it's a little bit beat up. It's the last remaining one. This is just an oversized, I think it's a 9x12 pocket. I attached, which is very hard to see. It's called a ring binder insert strip to the edge of it. And then I just put this in my holding album, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And I was able to fill it up with the mementos that went with the particular photos that I was working on, right? So just another option. Again, I talked briefly about the pizza box option, which works well also. One other thing I want to bring to your attention is your family calendar, which I talked about briefly. But wherever your mementos are stored, you know, at the end of the year, take that family calendar and store it right there with those mementos, or you can put one of these little ring binder insert strips on it and put it into a notebook. But you'll find that the information in here, even if it's not personal information, if it's just about things, especially if you have kids that happened at school, what days they were on spring break, when they had other big events, maybe the school play. You have a kid that's in a school play, the school calendar is going to say school play or spring concert or whatever, so you'll know the exact dates of those events. So rather than tossing out your calendar at the end of the year, make it part of your memento storage area so that you can go back and use it as a reference. And if you know in your head that you're going to do that, you'll be a little bit better about putting little notes on the calendar that you're going to be able to use later, right? So one of the reasons I believe we're not good journalers, when we used to get magazines, right, creating keepsakes, memory makers, paper cuts, all of those magazines that were out there, and they had all these beautiful layouts that other people had done. One of the things I loved about those layouts was reading people's journaling notes on the layouts, right? I even kept a magnifying glass on my desk at the time, sort of like a lurker into other people's lives, so that I could read those little journaling notes because I loved them. They're a huge part of the story, and yet they tend to be the thing that the majority of us don't do enough of in our albums, right? But we love them. We love the story. So I believe the reason we don't journal like we should or put a lot of information in there is because we just don't have the information. We don't know the exact date. We don't know who was in the picture, all those kinds of detail type things. So by keeping a better calendar...
I think it's back off again.
Oh,
It was just...
so goofy. Okay, I'm going to try and go very quickly through holding album, right? So creating a holding album is definitely the way when you're ready to start into a project that you want to arrange your project, right? And I've got a couple of examples here. So this is originally when I started with a holding album, I did it using 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper in a regular notebook, right? And so, or not 8.5 by sheets of paper, 8.5 by 11 page protectors. These I got at the camera store, and they had 5 by 7 pockets and 4 by 6 pockets and 8 by 10 pockets. And that's all we had back then, right? This was years ago. And then once I started working with the scrap rack, then I switched over to using a 12 by 12 format. And so I just took some scrap rack pages and I was able to create this holding album. So this is an example of one from a road trip that I took with my kids. And what I did in my holding album was each one of these pockets represents a double page spread. So this is for my album, this is for London's album, and this is for Max's album, right? So I have these pictures from Arches, these are mine, London's and Max's. When those pockets are empty, I know that I've completed that page. So if you're somebody who does multiple albums for your kids, grandparents, yourself, whatever, it's hard to remember which albums you've created pages for. This is a really simple way to do that, is to give each album a section of your holding album, and when those pockets are empty, you know that you've used those things up. So what this allowed me to do was sort by different parts of the trip, and you can see this side, these pockets are empty, so those parts of the trip are done. And then each one of these little tags, this is Max's page, Mesa Verde, I'm just doing a single page layout for that trip, for the Mesa Verde trip for Max, a single page for London. So that's what that number 1 means, that's circled there. But what this allows me to do is put everything together that I'm going to use for this album. So even my mementos are in there, my memorabilia is in there with these things. So I printed out my pictures, I decided on my layouts, right? I printed out my pictures, I organized them by layout, I put my mementos right in there, and now I can work through this whole little road trip simply and easily. It's in chronological order, but I could skip around in it because I would know which things I'd already done. So it makes it really simple when you bring all those things together into a holding album. So you've got your mementos, your memorabilia, your journaling notes, and they're all in one place. So I'm not advocating that you take all of your pictures and all of your mementos and create holding albums for every thing that you've worked on. I'm encouraging you to do one, you might have 2 holding albums depending on the kind of how you work. But the idea would be that you pull all these things together. So if I'm going to go to a crop or an event, or I just want to sit down and really focus, it's all here. I don't have to go, here's the photos, so-and-so's album, did I finish that page, did I do this, where are the mementos, where are the special things I purchased for this? They're all right here. I pulled them all together. So my time for crafting becomes really focused and I can really get a lot done. Now, you'll also notice in here, I have some SeaWorld stuff, right? So paper, stickers, embellishments. Now, normally I would not say pull the supplies that you're going to use and put them in your holding album, right? With one exception. If the supplies that you bought that you're going to use are so specific that they're only going to get used with that. So in this case, right, I've got SeaWorld paper, SeaWorld stickers, SeaWorld embellishments. Those are only going to be used for SeaWorld. That's it. I'm never going to like be going across this and say, oh, I want to use that SeaWorld logo paper on my Christmas pages. Not going to happen. So if you buy something that's totally specific, go ahead and put it right in with your pictures, your memorabilia, whatever, if you're not going to use it anywhere else, right? At the end, when I've finished the SeaWorld pages for this trip, if I have anything left in here, I know it can go right into my purge box, or it can go right into a, you know, big Ziploc bag labeled SeaWorld, and I can share it when I go to an event and somebody else is working on SeaWorld. But there's no reason, I know this gives some of us a stomach ache, right? There's no reason to keep supplies for that particular thing unless you go to SeaWorld every year, which maybe you do. I mean, if you live in Florida or San Diego, it could be a regular thing for you. That's a different story. But for most of us, when we go to SeaWorld, it's a special event with our kids. My kids have been to SeaWorld. They're teenagers. They're not going back. I'm not going back with them. The next time I probably go to SeaWorld, it'll probably be with grandkids. Am I going to want to use this? Am I going to want to hang on to this for 15 years until I get grandkids? No, because when the grandkids arrive, I'm going to want to go buy new SeaWorld scrapbooking stuff, new cool stuff that's hip and cool for 15 years from now, right? In the future, scrapbooking. So if you can discipline yourself to that end, these things match this specifically. When I'm done, they're out of here. It's going to eliminate a whole bunch of dig and search time and piles of stuff that you're never going to use. So it's really a great way to go about it. All right, so putting together a holding album is what you're going to do for your very next project or whatever you're working on now. Then you've sorted your pictures and your memorabilia. Now you're going to build some sort of holding album. Some of you have our memento keepers, which is this product right here. And the memento keeper works great as a holding album. So this is my son's graduation one. I have all the mementos from graduation. When I'm ready to work on his graduation album or that section of his senior year album, I'm going to add some of our photo storage pages, the 4x6 or perfect 6 pages, into this, just standard 3-ring, and I'm going to sort them, you know, by getting ready, the ceremony, the party afterward, whatever it is, and so I can do those layouts, and then I'm going to have all my mementos and those pictures in here together in one place. I can pull from the mementos that are in here and use what I want to use on his book. So I actually think you can see right here, senior 2014, those are actually embellishments that I bought just for his senior pages. So I just tucked them right in there as well. So they're all in here. All I need to do is choose the photos and add it. And now when I'm ready to work on his senior year or graduation, I can just pull this memento keeper off the shelf and get busy with it. Everything's going to be in there that I need. So it makes it really simple when you're ready to work on a project, pulling everything together. If you're using our memento keepers, if you bought them on HSN, we are out of stock on these in the warehouse. They do have some on HSN. So this is holds 12 by 12 items. Now, what we do have in stock, and they're actually on sale, is a little bit smaller version. So the upside to the memento keeper is that it's big, so it'll actually hold 12 by 12 things, but it's so big that it doesn't fit very well on a standard shelf. Fits on the shelf next to your scrapbooks with no problem because they're big as well. But this is called the mixed media binder. They are actually on the website. I think they're probably even listed in the bargain basement because they're on sale. But this is a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 11, which is kind of the standard size for memento type things, right? It's got the same big gusseted bulky pockets on the inside on the front, and 2 of them in the middle, and then the big one on the back. So this is a great way to store mementos and memorabilia as well. If you're going to use it as a holding album, you need to put your pictures in the pockets instead of in one of our big pages, because our pages are too big for this. But it's a great way to store mementos. They fit on the shelf. For those of you who have school-age children, you know they're constantly bringing things home. If you create some sort of binder system like this, where everything that comes home, you just put their, you know, their picture, their school picture on the end, like this. I have a little Lundy Poo's graduation picture on the end of this one. For whatever year they were, first grade, second grade, and then everything that comes home that you want to keep, you just stuff in there, and now it's on the shelf. And when they move out, you can just hand them all their memento keepers, and out the door they go. So find a tool that's going to allow you to put all those things together. If it'll do double duty, your memento keepers, to also function as a holding album when you're ready to work on those mementos, that's going to be amazing, and it's going to really simplify things. So think about that along those same lines. Now, there's nothing to say that you can't also put your photographs right into your big manila envelopes or into your file folders with everything. You can do that as well, and you could use that file folder as your sort of holding album. Just a little bit simpler when you can spread those out and do them by layout. It makes it really great. So, so if you need memento keepers, or if you want to use the mixed media binder, the mixed media binders, I think, are what? Oh, I think the mixed media binders are like $10, and because you're part of the Get Organized Challenge, you can use your Get Organized Challenge coupon on those as well. All right, so you're going to create that holding album. The next thing, this is an idea that was brought to us by a challenge participant. Her name is Jill Cooper, and she created this little template, and this is super helpful as well. So if you're working on your this road trip, summer vacation, I can take this little template and kind of do a mini sketch of everything that's going to go in there, know how many sheets of background paper I need, know what kind of embellishments I'm looking for, all that stuff. So it really helps you get your brain around planning out those album pages. And this is especially helpful if you're somebody who likes to go to crops or classes or events where you're going to take things with you, because you can kind of map out what you're going to do, and that way it makes it super simple to pull things together and take exactly what you want with you. This, again, just 3-hole punch it. There's a download on the website, so you can just download this. It's a free download. These two things are probably together on the challenge page, and you can add it to your holding album, and it makes it that much simpler. So, and those, we've had those for a while, but thanks again, Jill Cooper, for sending those in and letting us use them here. All right, so you've got everything stored together. You've got a simple process for following, taking your mementos, adding your pictures, creating that holding album, and moving forward with that project. Now again, I just want to reiterate, you don't need to start sorting and organizing pictures with your mementos now. Don't spend your time doing that. Get your mementos organized, get your pictures organized, and wait until you're ready to actually scrap those pictures to do that next step of pulling those two things together. And there's a number of reasons why you should do that. If you keep your photos all organized chronologically, if anything happens before you actually get to scrapbooking, let's say your son or daughter is graduating, or they're getting married, and they want to do like a timeline video or whatever, if you've got all those pictures spread out and sorted with all your mementos or your memorabilia, pulling out those types of pictures in chronological order is going to be difficult, right? So leave your pictures together, pull the pictures and the memorabilia, and create a holding album when you're ready to start that project. All right, so just some of the benefits of using that holding album, right? It's easy to access. You're not going to duplicate handling your materials. You're going to be able to work from start to finish. Obviously easy to go to a crop, but really easy to craft at home as well. Now, it also is a perfect tool for when you're shopping for products to do those pages, right? So if you have your pages kind of mapped out, I'm going to do six double-page spreads of Disney. You're going to the scrapbook store to buy Disney paper. You know you need 12 sheets of background paper that all go together so that those layouts are all going to blend in and be a cohesive group, right? If that's me, right? Everything has to work together. But you're able to buy the right amount. So it's not like you think, oh, I'm going to do 6 pages, and then you go and buy 6 papers, but you actually end up, because you didn't go through, you didn't set up your layouts, you need 12. When you go back to the scrapbook store, they're out of that, right? So it's going to help you shop and be more efficient if you know how many pages you're going to do, and how many background sheets you need. And then, of course, we all buy a little bit extra just in case we mess something up. All right. And if you are somebody who does multiple albums, you don't have to then rely on your memory. Did I do London's SeaWorld pages, Max's SeaWorld pages, my SeaWorld pages? Because of the way you're laying out that holding album, you know who you've done what pages or events for. So that makes it simple as well. All right, so it's a pretty easy challenge this week. Your assignment is to sort your memorabilia into a filing or storage system. Label the memorabilia with the location of the pick coordinating pictures and vice versa. Create an online journal. I didn't even really talk about this, but go into your desktop, open a Word document, and start an online, easy to access journal. If you're somebody who's tech savvy and you can link that document to your phone, to your tablet, and to your PC. So if you're waiting in line at carpool, or you're waiting to pick someone up at the airport, or you're just some idea pops into your head, you can go to your phone or your tablet, whatever you have with you, and add to that journal. It's going to be super simple, right? And just every night or once a week, you spend a few minutes. Oh, here comes Karen with questions. I thought we were in trouble again for not having any volume.
You may have answered these already as
well. Oh, okay. So that online journal just has to be short and sweet. And here's an amazing thing. If you don't know this, once you have some sort of document, and I use the Word, and you want to find something, Disney trip, you can just hit the search box, type in Disney trip, and it'll pull up that keyword in that document, right? So you don't have to worry. You just do it in chronological order, and your keyword search is going to find whatever you need. So I put the most recent post at the top. So mine is kind of reversed. So every day I start at the top and insert. Well, not every day. I'm not really that good. It sounds great, right? Every day when I take my journaling time, that's not it. So I usually cram a week in like one day, right? I kind of backtrack through it. But I start at the top, so it's always the most recent thing at the top, and that's easy for me. The nice thing about an online journal is that you can also cut and paste links to websites and stuff in there. So I don't know, maybe there's or take a picture, like that's like a Facebook picture, and throw it in there or whatever. So you can add things to that online journal really easy. Like right now I am planning a trip with my kids for Christmas break. And so as I find interesting things and places to go on that trip, I can copy and paste that link from the website onto a little section in that online journal, and then I can go back there and find those pictures or those things to do or whatever right there. So great question. Karen brought the questions up to me. So great question from Audrey Bird. Where do the pics and memorabilia go that are left over after scrapping? Purging is hard for pics and memorabilia that are clearly not good enough, but for me, there will always be some that are too good. Okay, so this is a great question. So the memorabilia doesn't matter. That's usually pretty easy for us to dispose of, right? Because all the memorabilia we wanted to keep when we're finished with the project is all in our scrapbook. And a lot of times as scrapbookers, we go somewhere and we collect 5 menus, 3 napkins, 12 coasters, whatever it is, because we want to make sure we have plenty for our scrapbook. Now, I'm not seeing any video. Oh, there it is. Okay, good. So, the pictures, all you're going to do with those pictures, right, is put them in chronological order in some kind of photo storage box. If you can't purge them, put them in chronological order in some kind of photo storage box. Use something as simple as a sticky note. So if you take a sticky note and write on the, I don't know how to explain this. I'm having a little brain freeze here, right? This isn't going to help because it doesn't work. Into the garbage with you, pen. So sticky note like this, square sticky note, sticky side, right? So if you have a sticky note, usually you don't write on the sticky side. But when you're storing your photos, peel that sticky note off the tablet and write on the sticky side, whatever it is, right? 2015 Disney, right? And now you can stick that sticky note to the back side of the first or last, however you want to do it, photo in the Disney group, and that little tab, 2015 Disney, will stand up. So you got this box. It's organized in chronological order. On the front of it, it says already scrapped, so you know that you're done with it. In chronological order, whenever you have friends or family come over or you go, so I did this with all my pictures. once I got them all organized, what I was going to scrap, what was left over, and then I was able to take them to my mother's, my mother-in-law's, and my sister's when I went to their houses, and they could go through then and pull out any pictures they wanted and keep them. So it was a great way to share those pictures. I got rid of some of those pictures, especially back in the day when we used to print, you know, you used to buy one, get a duplicate free, or you'd print 3 at a time or whatever it was. So I had all these duplicates of things, but it was a great way to share them. And now they're all in chronological order. When my kids needed pictures for school projects or that type of thing, they're all there in chronological order. So if you can't purge pictures, which a lot of people can't do, you just want to combine, conquer, consolidate them. We answered Audrey's question. Great question, Audrey. What to do with those pictures? Put them in chronological order and share them to your heart's content. You'll feel so good about it. Question, will the double-sided stamp store and go for decorative scissors and decorative hole punches? Will they be able to stand in the bookshelf? I don't know. So the question is about our double-sided stamp bag. I've never put that kind of thing in it. So scissors and punches are, we put punches in the single-sided bag. Don't put punches in your double-sided bag because the double-sided bag is not designed for it and it's way too heavy for that bag. The single-sided bag will work for punches. But for scissors, I would think anything will kind of stand up. Things like scissors are going to kind of drop to the bottom of the bag, but when you pull it off the shelf and open it up, you can just shake them back flat into the tray before you pull it out. And it won't be ideal, but it would be a good way to get all those scissors in one place and stored and accessible. So depending on how much you use them, if you decide to try it, please send us a picture so we can put it up on the Facebook page and let people know, or on our website page and let people know that it does work, or maybe that it doesn't work. So I'm sorry I don't have a good answer for that. Kathleen asks, just joined from New Jersey. Question, what do you do if you have pictures organized into Creative Memories photo boxes, but all the memorabilia for many years is not organized yet? How would I organize all that? So leave the things that you've done how you've done them. Just make sure they're labeled clearly and easy to get to, right? That's really the key. Are you going to be able to find those pictures easily? And then once you sort the memorabilia, then you can tag it. There's pictures that match these in Creative Memories Photo Box number 2, or however you have those labeled, or Creative Memories Photo Box from 1999, or whatever it is. Go into the photo box and throw in a note that says, don't forget the memorabilia is in the file folder. So I'm not a big advocate of redoing things you've already done. So try to come up with a way that you can just link the two things together the fastest and easiest way. Because really, if you can just prompt your brain, here's a note that says where the pictures are, here's a note that says where the memorabilia is. So no matter which thing you get to first when you're working on that project, it's going to link you back to the other thing as well. So that would be my recommendation there. All right, so I'm sorry that we had so much trouble with the challenge today. I'm going to finish. We started talking before Karen brought up these questions about what the assignment is this week. So I'm going to just recap from the very beginning. You're going to choose a filing system, whether it's holding albums, or not holding albums, file folders, pizza boxes, manila envelopes, whatever tool it is that you're going to store all your mementos together in. You're going to get that tool picked out. You're going to label and sort those boxes or file folders. Once you have the memorabilia sorted, you're going to start that journal on your desktop, and if you're tech savvy, you're going to link that journal to your phone and your tablet, so no matter where you are, you can access that document. Something like Dropbox works for that, or SharePoint, depending on what kind of system you use. I don't know anything, I'm sorry to say, about Mac products. So if you're somebody who does use Mac and you know how to do what product works for that, I think Evernote would probably work as well, that you could get to that on your phone, on your tablet, and on your PC. It's all going to work great for you, but it's really going to simplify if you can just discipline yourself to do that little bit of journaling every week. Start a holding album for your current project. So pull together all those things that you are working on now or that you want to start working on and create your very first holding album. Get everything in order. Then you're going to sort one container of other stuff. You're going to sort 4 inches of paper. You're going to post on Facebook so that you can get in the last drawing, which will be next week, because next week is our last week of the challenge. So put up a post on Facebook or send us an email with your progress post so you can get in the drawing. And then finally, enjoy your reward. You've worked really hard for it this week and you deserve it. So take advantage of that reward. All right, thanks so much for joining me. I'm so sorry we had so many technical difficulties. Feel free to ask us questions via Facebook or send us an email if you have questions I didn't answer today. It's been great talking with you. Have a good week and we'll see you next Tuesday.